Here's Alex again from Blacksheep IT Consulting, and we have another video on our goofbox machine, shenanigan machine, where we can play around in a safe environment with Siebel barebone or Siebel as containers. Now with Siebel as containers, it's very easy actually to learn more about gateway clustering. I'm not saying that this is the way to build a gateway cluster because it's running on the same machine and that doesn't make sense. But if you want to learn about gateway clustering, this is a way to do it. If you have one gateway container, it's very easy to create two more. All you need is just a little bit of disk space and two more volumes. So I'm creating volumes for my future CGW02 and CGW03, the two additional nodes you need at least for a gateway cluster, and then you just run the Cloud Gateway Container mode two more times, of course referring to the persistence volumes we've just created. So we have Gateway Node 2 and Gateway Node 3 here. So that is basically the installation, takes less than a minute. And of course, keep in mind, this is educational and you don't want to do this in a real production environment because it doesn't make any sense because it runs on the same machine. So here's the outcome. Okay, that's a Siebel server starting up here, but the outcome is that I have now not one gateway machines, but three gateway machines, and they're all up. So I'll just wait for the Siebel server to come up. And while that is running, I can go to the SMC. Actually, what I want to go is the SMC. Let me save a favorite here. And prepare the gateway cluster deployment. So of course you need additional machines, which we have, but you need of course a gateway cluster profile. And the gateway cluster profile is the simplest profile type. It just has three parameters, which are the ports. And yeah, let's clone that, create a new one, test cluster profile. And the client port, you should be using the client port that is already in place. So let's check. I think it's 2330, but let's check on the first gateway. We go to terminal and we can do a cat Siebel MDE gateway server registry conf registry CFG. Then we see the client port in place already. So that means this is the one used by the one gateway, that is the future primary. Doesn't have to be, but it probably is. So use that port here. So there will be no changes and there will be no interference. And then the two other ports are for the cluster management, basically the leader election that goes on and the followers following the leader, etc. So I choose just to increment 2331 and 2332 and submit that. So that's the three magic port numbers. And now let's see if the Siebel server is up by checking call center. Probably up already. Siebel server doesn't have to be up really, but it's more fun when it's up. Oh yeah, okay, so Siebel server is up. So now we can deploy the gateway profile, gateway cluster using, of course, the deployment page plus gateway cluster. and we choose our profile, and I always like to do a staging first here for the gateway cluster. I'm not sure why, maybe I've been burned a while, and you see the future primary. You can change the primary, of course, but you have the one machine that already exists. And now we just clone that 2 times. And of course you enter the new machine names. So we have number 2 and number 3. And you do the same with the registry cluster. So there's a service cluster and a registry cluster. Okay. So this is what it should look like. Now we have 3 machines in total participating in the cluster, in the future cluster. It's staged, so let's submit that. Staging will create the initial layout, but it will not deploy. So you can just check here, yes, looking good. Gateway cluster, yeah, not bad. So let's try and deploy that by clicking the deploy button. And that yields, of course, some activity on these clusters. We might be able to see that on the second one, the terminal. We see, yeah, I see the gateway name service, the Siebel registry service is already up. There should be the Java, the zookeeper is up. Oh, no, looking good. And it was successful. Please restart all the deployed Siebel services. So that's a recommendation. And we have a green cluster. Few minutes. And of course, it's just an educational environment. But if you want to explore and learn about gateway clustering, reconfiguring gateway clusters, etc., and you don't want to mess up a real-life Siebel environment, this kind of sandboxing can be done on any Windows VM with Podman on Windows. Of course, you can use a Linux box as well with the nice containers that we have for Siebel. So yeah, so we have us a gateway cluster. From now on, of course, if you restart that enterprise, make sure to start all the 3 gateways first to bring the cluster up. Otherwise, it's not available. Once the cluster is up, it can lose a member. As you know, it can lose unless the quorum is reached, it can lose nodes. So that is the formula. So a cluster of 3 can lose 1, because if it loses 2, there's no quorum, there's no majority to vote for. Okay, so that was a bit of gateway cluster fun with our Windows VM with Podman and Siebel containers. Thank you for watching. Take care and bye-bye.